Hafa Day, and welcome to this edition of GCA Today. Earlier this month, we had our awards banquet, which we normally have, at least for the past 14 years that I've been here at GCA. It's called the Excellence in Construction and the Contractor of the Year Award. And I have as our guest today the recipient, and not just for this year, but for many, many years since I've been here, the recipient of both the Excellence in Construction Awards over the years, and also this year's Contractor of the Year. And I'd like to welcome aboard Mr. Leonard Kaae. He's the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Black Construction Corporation.
Thanks, James. Hafa Day.
And welcome to the program, our short little program. And we're very honored to have you in my office. I've never had you in my office, I don't think.
I don't believe I've been here before.
You've never been here.
But I'm honored to be here.
But I'm honored to be here as well, with you, in fact. So we're talking about the excellence in construction. I know Black Construction, for the last 13, 14 years, have always submitted something with construction-based projects that are judged on different components and different criteria. Just recently, maybe over the last 5 or 6 years, we kind of changed the program to include the Contractor of the Year, which is not really project-based, but is company-based now on everything that you do within the company, to include workforce development, social responsibility, contributions to the industry, and contributions to the community. And so all these entail the Contractor of the Year. But before we go into detail about that, I also wanted to mention that Black Construction was actually the first Guam company to win a national award in the, we're affiliated with the Associated Builders and Contractors, Inc., and we submitted a project that Black Construction won the overall prize in 2013, and was submitted for the overall, or for the national competition, of which you won that particular category and became Guam's first company to win a national award for the excellence in construction after 14 years of doing this. So first of all, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And also congratulations on this year's Contractor of the Year. Like I said, it's a different judging criteria. It's based on what was submitted in terms of describing your company, the company overview, what you do for the community, what you do for your company workforce in professional development, for your staff and for your workers. One thing that I read in your application was that you said, Black Construction is self-sustaining, and that's the formula for Black success in doing business here on Guam. So, can we talk a little bit about that? What do you mean by self-sustaining?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you very much, James, for allowing me to be here today, and we're certainly honored to be selected as Contractor of the Year for 2015. Self-sustaining. What does that mean for Black and its employees? I think the first and foremost important thing to keep in mind is that we use the local force, the local workforce, as much as we can. And with that being said, we train our people, we educate them, and we ensure that they succeed as employees of the organization. As a result of that, we have long-term employees. A lot of them, have been with us, and I think a lot of them look at Black, as a career, as opposed to looking at Black as a job with Black,
right?
Rather than a job, So they look at Black as a career. And one of the things that also comes into play when you talk about sustainable workforce is that we have a lot of children, grandchildren that have come to work for us. I'll give you an example. James Martinez the third, I believe, is his name. His grandfather was James Martinez, who was a crane operator and became a crane certifier many years ago.
Right.
And his grandson works for us now. So, and he's training to become a crane operator. So from that standpoint, it's something that we're very proud of, and we encourage people like James to actually try and reach their goals, and ensure that they become a viable part of the organization and the community. and for their families themselves. So that's a vital part of what we bring and what we represent as an organization.
That kind of stayed within that family, and so the kids that were growing up would learn a little bit from their grandfathers, and even as far back as their great grandfathers and their fathers, and they try to follow their footsteps into that same company. I don't see that happening with too many companies here on Guam, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I do notice that with Black Construction Corporation, where you've got history of parents, mostly I guess fathers, whose sons or other siblings are now working for the company, and I don't know if that's by accident or on purpose, because right now everybody's got a challenge with workforce, finding a workforce and then developing that workforce. But you've got this continuity of employees that are rooted from 2 or 3 generations back, probably when you first started here on Guam, that are now currently employed at Black Construction.
Absolutely, and I'll give you an example. Another example. I was just talking to some of our guys, supervisors, the other day, and I've got a guy, Boy Guevara, and his dad was John Guevara, was a superintendent from the early '60s, and his son now has been with the company for 31 years. Time flies, right, when you're having fun.
Sure.
I got another supervisor, Dante De La Rosa, and his dad worked as an electrician for Black, and he's been with the company now 32 years. So, when you think about people like that, you just don't recognize how important these guys are,
Right, yes.
and how important their fathers were, or their family members were to the organization, that have actually carried on that tradition as employees of Black Construction and the Black group of companies. Because a lot of these guys may have started in the Philippines, or may have started in Micronesia. They've migrated to Guam as a result of their importance to the organization. So we've brought them in, and today they're viable citizens and employees of the organization.
The workforce today, what do you see the workforce today as compared to 20 years ago? People getting into construction, kids coming out of high school that want to work for your company, probably in particular, and then the kids we have now that want to get into the workforce but really have no training, no skills. Do you see a big gap there?
I do.
From 20 years ago?
I do. I see a major gap, and it's kind of scary to think about it, because 25, 30 years ago, there was still younger people coming out of high school or college or all walks of life that went into the industry. Weren't afraid to get dirty, weren't afraid to work hard and earn a buck for themselves and their families. Today, you're lacking that same, I guess, fortitude and desire to actually enter the construction market for whatever reason. And I think a lot of it is driven by the fact that they'd rather do something better, cleaner, maybe in an air-conditioned environment, as opposed to being out in the hot sun. And getting dirty and working hard all day long. Physical work. So as a result of that, I think there is a big transformation as far as the workforce is concerned. I'll be honest with you, Black has a very, an aging workforce. And as a result of that, we have a lot of our employees that are in the 50, 60-year-old range.
Wow.
We have a lot of employees that, not a lot, but we have some.
It's an aging workforce. You need to replenish that with.
We need to replenish younger employees.
Are there initiatives to hire, let's say, more women in these non-traditional jobs?
We're open to hiring women.
They're mandated by a lot of the federal contracts.
Correct.
To have a certain percentage of women
and we have women in the workforce. Obviously, we stand behind the Trades Academy, and I think it's a vital part of the industry to ensure that they, companies like Black and all of the companies can continue to hire young people aspiring to, go into the trades.
And getting trained with actually nationally recognized credentials.
Absolutely.
So that's good.
Very, very important. Yep. And so we encourage that, and we stand behind that program.
Okay. And lastly, I know you were Contractor of the Year for other reasons as well, and one of them is your social responsibility and community service. I know sometimes I see a lot of, Black did this, or Black Construction donated this. How do you determine what charitable organizations or, I guess, nonprofits that you would support? I know there's a ton here on Guam, and you can't help everybody, so you've got to select a few. So what is it in a nonprofit you look at in supporting their cause?
I think a lot of it is really the reason, the cause, the purpose of the donation. Last year we helped Make-A-Wish put a playground together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and worthy cause for a child that was
Diagnosed
had some health issues.
Exactly.
And as a result of that, that was a worthy cause, right? Obviously the parents can't afford it, but Make-A-Wish came through, and it was something that was really worthwhile, and we just felt very positive about doing that contribution to the family and to Make-A-Wish as a whole. So we don't necessarily are tied to any organization.
Oh, okay.
We tend to look at the reason, the cause, the purpose, of what we're contributing to as being the real reason for it.
And that's why Black Construction Corporation is this year's Contractor of the Year. So thank you so much for that. We look forward to many more applications getting into the next few years as well.
Yeah.
And good luck. We've got an entry also in the national competition with the Excellence
We do.
in Construction. So we won't get the results until next year, on February timeframe. So Leonard, thank you.
James, thanks a lot.
I know you're a
Really
busy
appreciate
man.
it.
You've got
Yeah.
stuff to do and millions to make. So
Always
I'm
good
gonna
to
let
see you, though.
Always good to see you. Same here. And I guess to our viewing audience, we'll see you again next week with GCA Today.